So once you have that down and you've built it, and by the way, this isn't like 1, 2, 3, 4, do this in step 1, 2, 3, 4. These are all, a lot of these are going to be kind of woven together. You're going to be doing a lot of this at the same time, but the bottom line is, as you do it more effectively, more consistently, and you scale up, the results will compound. Hey, what's going on, cash flow hackers? It's Chris with Life 180, and for this video, I want to talk to you about stopping the pursuit of the chase of money and instead chasing something else entirely different. Now, one of the things that I think is really, really important, one of the things that I resonated with that made a massive impact and difference in my life is wrapping my head around the idea that money follows value. Now, we all know, we've all heard this phrase at least, that money follows value, and it sounds like some, kind of wooey concept that okay, that's great, Chris, money follows value. Well, what does that mean? How can I implement it in my life? And so for this video, I want to kind of go through some of the processes and some of the thoughts that I've gone through personally to get to where I am, to go through the journey of starting off 12 years ago as a life insurance agent, building up a practice, having a lot of success, becoming a coach, developing out my skills, really getting to the place where I've transitioned from having to seek out people to go help and to be able to sell to, so to speak, and then be able to put it in a position where I know that because of the work that I've done, I'm now able to put so much value out into the world. And that is really my focus, is not to go sell anybody anything ever. It's to add value to life insurance agents. It's to add value to people who are interested in taking their financial life to the next level, whether it's through real estate, whether it's through utilizing life insurance as a foundational asset, or whether it's through increasing financial efficiency in any way. My focus is to serve people and add value into people's lives. And what I know is that your level of compensation is going to be directly correlated to the level of the problems that you're able to help people solve. So the first thing that you need to do is not try to go out and focus on selling a product. You need to align yourself with a product or service. And this, by the way, I'm going to talk about it in the context of life insurance and the life insurance industry and whole life insurance as a foundational asset. But these principles are absolute. This will work in every single industry. This will work with any single service or product. It all comes down to you and your belief and your level of expertise and knowledge. So let's get into this a little bit. All right, so first and foremost, if we know that our income is going to be directly correlated to the level and depth of the problems that we're able to solve, our first thing needs to start with us. I'm a big believer that what got you here isn't going to get you where you want to go, and that you are where you are because of who you are. So your journey of personal growth and development is ultimately going to be what's going to elevate you and your ability to serve people and to reach a higher level of clientele for you to be able to serve. Most people struggle. Let's face it, 92% of life insurance agents fail out of the business in the first 3 years. Why is that? It's because there's a couple things. I think people that are looking for help with their finances have a hard time trusting sometimes people who are newer in the business, because their gut tells them, okay, this person just joined the business. I don't know how long they're going to be around. They're kind of new into this industry. Maybe they don't know what they need to know. And so you got to find this balance of activity and going out and serving people. And you need to make sure that you're spending the time asking for help, but you can help people in a way by going through a process. And if you have the right process that's more educational focused, you can then learn on the job, so to speak. At the same time, you also need to be making sure that you're spending hours and hours, tens of hours every single month, just diving in and educating yourself on product knowledge, understanding your product, understanding your competitors' products, understanding how everything, the whole landscape works with whatever product or service you're selling, right? Because if you understand that, that's going to elevate your level of expertise and competency. And I'm a big believer in the concept of this competence loop. The more competence you build, it's like look at it as an infinity loop. And if you look at the Life 180 logo, that's one of the reasons that, Life 180 logo is this idea. It's kind of got an infinity loop component built into it. And it's because when we talk about when you build the confidence or the competence, your confidence will increase. And the higher the confidence you have, you can now get your competence to the next level. And you just repeat that over and over and over again. And when you do that, you're now going to be able to help people at a bigger level. So once you have that down and you've built it, and by the way, this isn't like 1, 2, 3, 4, do this in step 1, 2, 3, 4. These are all, a lot of these are going to be kind of woven together. You're going to be doing a lot of this at the same time. But the bottom line is, as you do it more effectively, more consistently, and you scale up, the results will compound, right? Like, it's important to understand that. So the second thing that you need to do is really think about building your clarity and having 100% clarity on what are the problems that your avatar, that's your ideal client, what are the problems that they have that you can solve with your product or service? If you know what problems you're able to solve, now it's not about you going in to sell anybody anything. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're trying to sell somebody something, you're doing it the wrong way. If you're trying to convince somebody on an illustration that they need a whole life product, or they need an IUL, or they need anything of that nature because of what the illustration is going to show them, you're selling it the wrong way. What you need to be doing is you need to be asking great questions from people. You need to be clear on what are the problems that you are passionate about helping people solve. And when you understand what problems you help them solve, now you can ask them great questions to figure out how they feel, I should say, about what they're doing, what's working, what's not, what are the emotional connections or disconnections, because I don't care who it is. You don't want to listen to me if you don't know me, right? I could be the smartest person in the world. I could have all the answers for you dialed in, but if you're not emotionally connected to why it matters to you, and if you haven't bought into the fact that I'm the person that can solve your problem and help you find the answers to your problem so you can go out and execute and I can coach you through it, my opinions, my knowledge, none of that matters, right? And that's the same for you. So you need to make sure you are 100% clear on the problems that you're able to solve, and ultimately go out and get in front of as many of the people that you think have those problems. And then just go, when you have those conversations, ask a lot of questions to get them to self-identify with the fact that they have these problems. And then by the time you go to give a solution, they're giving you permission to talk about it. So the third thing that I think is really important, and this is why I do a lot of the videos that I do, is you need to be educated on your competition. I'm going to just speak about me really quickly. I am passionate about the role that a properly designed whole life insurance can play in people's lives as a cornerstone foundational asset in your financial world. I don't think, if this isn't your first video you're watching here, I don't think it's going to be a surprise for you to hear me say that, right? So that said, why? Why is that for me? Well, it's because of my background. It's because of my experience and the journey that I've been on. I am fully aware of my competition because I came from the competition. I spent the first 4.5 years of my working career in the insurance business working for the competition and learning that. And I had drank the Kool-Aid, bit the bait, hook, line, sinker, all that stuff. And I did that. And then the deeper I got, the more I realized, whoa, this isn't what I thought it was. And so I had to start going a different route. I think that experience for me has made me extremely powerful in what I do. The message is more impactful. I think it enables me to really help people on a different level because I'm able to understand not just what I do and why it's important, but understanding what my competition is doing, understanding what those conversations are, understanding the nuances and what problems does my competition solve, what problems do I solve with my solution, and now I can speak to that more articulately. And I'm telling you right now, if you can do that with any product, with any service, then you are going to be way ahead of the competition. I think that's one of the things that differentiates me compared to anybody else, is I have this underlying real knowledge base of understanding my competition's products better than they typically understand it themselves. And with that, I'm able to also understand my product on a deep level. And so when I combine those two, and I'm really clear about the problems I'm trying to solve for the person, and I ask them questions, and then we have this conversation, the beautiful part about it is it's a completely authentic experience. I'm not trying to sell anybody anything. I'm not trying to, force my thing down anybody's throat. I'm asking people questions. I'm trying to get in front of the right people, ask them the right questions, figure out what's important to them, figure out what's working, what's not, what's holding them back, what do they think, where do they think their gaps are? And then I just try to figure out, hey, knowing what I know, where can I solve these problems for them? And if we can go from that and we keep it really linear and really simple, and stop trying to make it like I'm the smartest person, stop trying to make it like I'm trying to force my product on everybody. We just try to figure out where they are in the journey and where it fits, and if it does, and if it doesn't, it's totally okay. Stop thinking everybody needs what you're selling. I'm a big believer in whole life insurance. I'm a big believer that yes, at some point in time, every single person is going to need properly designed whole life insurance policy. Not maybe need it, but definitely want it. If they knew what I knew, they'd want it, right? Now, that doesn't mean that it's right for every single person right now, because based on where you are in your financial journey, my goal is to not sell you a whole life insurance policy. My goal is to help you increase your financial efficiency, period, right? So maybe right now, that's not getting a whole life policy. Maybe a different part of this journey is helping you eliminate some of the other financial issues you have. Maybe it's helping you with your real estate investments. Maybe it's coaching you in some of these other areas. And eventually, when you get to where you need to be, where I believe is the right way based on the problems I know I can help solve, a whole life insurance policy will come into play, right? But that's got to be authentic, and you got to have that dialed down, and you have to understand, the person you're trying to serve on such a deep level that, it becomes a seamless conversation. And I'm telling you, like, there's nothing unique about this, and you could do this in every industry. So lastly, what I would also say is you need to understand why you're doing this. So the fourth thing is know your why. Simon Sinek wrote it in his book, Start With Why. Everybody knows what they do. Fewer people know how to do it well, and even fewer people know why they do what they do. And if we could understand and really tap into starting with that core belief of why we're doing what we're doing, why do we want to serve them? John Maxwell always says, people don't care how much you know till they know how much you care. But once they find out how much you care, you better know something. So it's, it all comes down to, think about it this way. People make decisions emotionally, and then they validate those decisions with logic. Think about how I've been talking about this money thing. I don't care if you're worth $100 million or if you're worth, $100,000. The principles don't change. The reasons you're making any decision you make in your life has to do with your emotional connection to whatever you're trying to accomplish. And if you're not acting in your own best interest, I promise you there's an emotional reason why you're doing that. Now, when we go to act in a certain way, when we go to make a certain decision, people are gonna make that decision emotionally, and then they're gonna validate that decision with logic. The problem with most life insurance people is they lead with the logic. They lead with, hey, look at the math, look at the spreadsheet, look at the numbers, look at the ledger, look at the illustration, and boom, we sell on this logic. Now, A, you're gonna lose people because that logic to you isn't gonna necessarily make logic to a lot of people. B, even though it may be the most logical, if it does make sense to them, they didn't give you permission to go there yet because they're not emotionally invested into the product, the process, or you as the agent yet. They didn't give you permission to go there. You were a bit premature. And then C, they've got to go through this process where they have to self-identify that they have a problem to solve, and then they're going to emotionally buy into it. So you need to ask questions to get them to have a conversation in their own mind, not just with you, that they self-identify, wow, this is actually a problem I need to solve. If they haven't self-identified that they have a challenge that they need to solve in their life, you could have the best product, the best solution in the world, logically to solve that. But if they're not emotionally bought into it, you're swimming up the creek, or you're rowing up the creek without a paddle, or whatever that expression is, right? And so it's really, really important to understand these four things that you need to do. You need to be a master of product knowledge. You need to be 100% clear on who you serve and what their problems are. You need to be educated on your competition, and you need to be 100% clear on why you do what you do so you can show up authentically, and you cannot manufacture any of this stuff. So you need to really, really, really invest in yourself and make sure that you are increasing the value that you're bringing to the table. Stop chasing money, start educating yourself, start investing in yourself, start surrounding yourself with the right people, doing these things. And if you do that, what you're gonna find is you're gonna be putting so much value into the marketplace. You're gonna be serving so many people at a different level. You're gonna be showing up so much more authentically that people are going to want to work with you. It's not easy, but it's worth it. It's also not complicated. This is a really, really straightforward thing. The only reason that you're not where you wanna go is because you're not who you need to be yet. The key word there is yet. Anybody can do what I do. Anybody can learn this stuff. The biggest thing is you got to find, is your why big enough to dedicate the time to get to where you need to go? So if you have any questions, comment in the comment section below. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell. That way you're notified every time I launch a video. Till next time, have a blessed, inspirational day. We'll talk soon. See ya.